Right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It is Sunday, and it is not a good day. All right, let's just call it as it is. Let's start the show. But we're going to talk about why, all right? We're going to get into what's happened, why the market is where it is, and try and make some sense of it all, right? Try and make some sense of it all, because right now, people are 100% freaking out. People are going to be very uncomfortable. People are going to be totally losing their minds as to where we are. So we're going to try and, I guess, sort of try and make some sense of it all. I don't really know. We'll try anyway. Do you know what I mean? We're going to try. Also, I'm trying to fix this, and it's really kind of bugging me that I can't fix this, which is also annoying. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to try and, make some sort of sense of it all, because it is a pretty rough day. And like I said, the debate right now that is on everyone's mind is, are we about to get the bear market? And if we are, what does that look like? All right. I think it's probably the right thing to do. I think it's probably, a sensible thing to do is understand where we are, right? Is understand where we are. So I have, I am trying to just fix something. Just FYI, I'm still trying to get this BPVR indicator to make it flip the other way, and I don't know what I'm doing that I can't make it reverse. Anyway, so we'll get into it. I want to talk a bit about why. Why is the market so garbage? And I think we can probably safely say right now that we are very bearish, all right? Do we think it's defined as a bear market right now? Maybe not, all right? And there's a couple of reasons why I say that. So I'm not just going to come in this world of going, oh, I think we're in a bear market. Like, I'm going to put some logic behind it. We're going to think about what is it that drives the bear market? What is it that kind of makes the bear market swing? Oh, maybe I could do it this way. Hold on a minute. If I do minus 70, does that work? No. Okay. I thought that might have worked. That's kind of annoying. So we'll sort of do that as well. All right. What's going on, Rob? Casey, welcome in. So like I said, we've got quite a bit to get into, quite a lot to talk about. Thank you so much, Casey. I appreciate that, buddy. And quite a bit that we want to just kind of walk and talk through and really get a feel for, what is kind of driving this market, and ultimately where do we then go from here, which I think is, certainly on everyone's agenda and certainly is on everyone's mind right now. So I'm going to have to take that off because I can't make it work. All right, good. Fed to pump 14 billion into the markets tomorrow. Yeah, the trouble you've got, though, is you've got futures markets that, the futures markets kind of look average, but not great, all right? So anyway, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. Bitcoin Beach says, hey, dude, I'm getting crushed. Are we in a bear market or about to bounce? Stick around. We're going to dive into that right away. But like I said, first hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, if you're here on YouTube or TikTok, hit that follow button as well. I appreciate it. It does help out the channel, boosts us up in the old algorithm, and lets people know that, hey, there is a channel still out here, still grinding, and hopefully trying to bring you some absolute alphas. So with that being said, TikTok, let me move you over here so you guys can see it, because the charts are going to be important tonight, all right? Not that we are super macro driven by charts, but they are going to be important, all right? And we're going to walk and talk through some of the key things that I'm looking at, and equally some of the important things. As I've said, right now, I am not in a world of, I'm not in a world where I'm buying anything right now. I'm sat on it. I did talk about potential couple of trades that I was looking at. And one of the things we might do tonight as well, just while I get everything sorted here, is we may even look at some potential trades for this week. What do they look like? What are some of the key things to bear in mind? All right, so let's get into it. Here you can see the structure we've got. So right now we are at 77, on the money, okay? So let's put a full horizontal line in here at 77,000, because it's important to just give us some context in the grand scheme of things. All right. So there we go. Nice pink horizontal line that essentially is telling us where we are. Now, what you have to do is understand we are back to April of 2025 bear market vibes. Okay. Now, I did a full video talking about this yesterday. Well, it went live this morning, actually, where it talks about why. Why is this market doing what it's doing? And then what do we need to look at in order to give us an idea as to where the market's going to go? And then historically, let's say this is a bear market. What are the drawdown expectations? What have we seen in the past? Because this will give us some price targets. Rather than just go, it's going to go to 65,000. Let's talk about whether this could go to $20,000. Now, I just want to be dead clear here. I aren't flipping the script and all of a sudden becoming the world's biggest bear. That's not what I'm about. But I do think it's important that we walk through some of this logic, because you can go on. I was listening to a couple of other people's channels today, as I do, not necessarily doing any research, but I just like to see what other people are putting out. And actually just loads of other people are talking fucking nonsense right now. Like, they're just like, oh, yeah, well, this is all down to the Fed chair. This is all down to the fact that Kevin Warsh is going to be the... No, it's not, right? It's not down to Kevin Warsh. Oh, well, this is down to retail selling. No, it's not, right? It's not down to retail selling at all. So we're going to talk about that as well because it's quite a bit. But what is safe to say right now is that we are in a significantly tricky spot, which basically means that right now we are in free fall. So we could absolutely tank all the way down here. Now, this is my proper low bear market case, my personal bear market case. However, we have seen historically, we could even see an 84% drawdown, takes us to around $20,000. So you have to bear that in mind. Do I think it would be the worst thing having a potential buy order set at 20K? No, because we could definitely think of some wicks that come in, but more of that in a little bit. But as you can see, total structure annihilation. Again, today the market's in total free fall, which tells you that this is nothing to do with Kevin Warsh, right? It's nothing to do with that. And actually what you've got now is mass panic. Fear and greed index down at about 20, maybe even a bit lower. Huge mass panic in this market. Everyone's freaking out. Everything's going to zero. People are totally losing it. There is, however, another important note to hear, that there is severe lack of liquidity, not just in the crypto market, but in the banks. I'm going to walk you through exactly what that is. And I'm even going to show you some examples of where we can see that, which I think is important to reference. And actually, all the hype and excitement that we've seen over gold, of which I have been saying that there is definitely going to be a rotation of gold. I just didn't think it was going to be this aggressive. And everyone called me crazy. Everyone was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Everyone's like, oh, you're absolutely full of nonsense. It's literally happening exactly as I said. The only thing we've got wrong, which is a pretty big thing, right? Which is a pretty big thing, is that we're not seeing the rotation into the crypto markets, right? That's what we're not seeing. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to in the longer term. All right. It's good. All right. What's going on, Casey? What's going on? Selmo says watching both. Thank you so much, Selmo. Appreciate it. What about XRP? I'll talk about that in a minute. You do not know. Okay, Normand? No problems. You can keep scrolling, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bart says it's going to zero. Now, just be clear, by the way, we're not going to zero. That is nothing. What is this going on my hair, by the way? But we could definitely see some further low pushes, as I've said, okay? I've definitely said that short term I'm bearish. Hey, everyone, I've got you, buddy. Don't worry. We're going to walk through this nice and slow, and we're going to keep us very much dialed into what's going on here with the charts. All right, good. So like we said, Bitcoin is historically now at this low level around 77,000. We've wiped out the entire move to the upside, okay? So the last time we were down here was off the blow off top back there in 2025, where everyone was like, hey, 109,000, super bullish. And then obviously we got the big capitulation down, and then we hit this low. So we've kind of wiped out this entire move here. Institutional buying, pro-crypto adoption, like we've wiped it all out, okay? So you could even then, go down sort of two narratives. You say, well, do we start again? Is this kind of where everything bottoms out and we need to go higher? And then we need to understand what the bottoming out actually is. And then obviously where we sit, but understand that we could go significantly lower. So this is where the technicals sit. I could go through altcoins if you want. ETH absolutely tanking. Everything's in the same boat right now, which historically aligns to a bear market cycle. The other thing to note, by the way, BTC dominance is on the way up. Another indication that actually the bear market is here. And as much as I don't want to admit that we're in a bear market, we're pretty freaking close. All right. I think it's fair to say whether it's the same as what we've seen, that's left to be questioned. All right. Just one question. When will it recover? Bought Solana XRP chain link, 20,000 to 8,000. Will it recover? Yes. In those particular coins, yes. In my opinion, right? So in my opinion, it's not financial advice, but you're in top tier assets at that point. If you're telling me you've bought Husky Inu, you're probably going to be in a bit of a challenge. But in some of those coins, for example, I hold Solana. I'm down significantly from its all-time high, but I have it staked. I'm just earning more Solana. Is Solana going anywhere? No. All right. Same with Bitcoin. Ethereum, I still think is going to have a big run. Don't forget, by the way, if you want to make yourself feel better, Tom Lee's nearly $6 billion in the hole right now, and it's getting even worse. So yeah. So do I think it's going to come back? Yeah. Bear market last month to a year. Correct. The debate will be, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, where we are potentially in this bear market cycle. And we'll walk through some of the key things that hit them. So this is the chart, right? This is where we are. Now, in order to understand where Bitcoin's going to go, in order to understand where this bear market kind of plays out to, then we need to understand what is effectively causing some problems, okay? So where is that? Well, as I've been saying, this is the problem, okay? This is the problem, and it's a problem on a number of different levels. So everyone's saying, oh, gold's the hedge against risk. Gold's like where we need to go. And you could argue and say, well, yeah, okay, gold's kind of been very interesting, right? Gold, US dollar, euro, yen claims a share of the Office of Foreign Exchanges, okay? So this is an interesting chart and it aligns to what I want to talk about. So you can see here, over the period of time where we see spikes in markets and we see push. So gold's been on a bit of a rip. Now, what we also know is there has been massive buying of gold in central banks, okay? This is in 2025, right? And this chart's going to become important. So you all know that in 2025, the banks accumulated more gold than they've ever accumulated in the last 50 years, right? They were buying crazy amounts of gold. Super, super crazy. I'm just looking at some of the notes I brought over here, right? Super, super crazy amounts of gold. Really important to understand, okay? Why? Risk was seen as a... Oh, you guys can't see that. Sorry, TikTok. 1 second. There you go. So gold is seen as the risk off, okay? So when markets are uneasy, we're going to go into Iran, Venezuela, whatever it is, okay? Then generally speaking, they say, right, we need to go against an asset that's not going to be as volatile as, say, something like Bitcoin, right? Think about it, though. So people were buying huge amounts of gold. The banks specifically were buying record numbers, okay? Gold demand hit a record high in 2025, fueled by insatiable investor buying. So we saw the pictures of them all queuing to buy gold, essentially seen as a safe haven, like this kind of narrative of like this crazy, crazy amount. Flip into 2026, and this gives you a basic expected change in annual gold demand in 2026. What do you see here? You see an absolute dumping in gold from central banks. Now, here's what you got to understand, and here's importantness. Here's what's important when you think about this. Everyone's been getting on this hype train. Gold's going to the moon. Silver's going to skyrocket. Commodities are way forward. The market's a crock of shit. Everyone hates crypto. All this narrative, right? What it's actually done, though, is you've had this mad rush on the banks where people have gone to the bank, drawn money out, and then gone and bought gold, right? So this is where you need to understand this. And it is going to get a little bit complicated, but stick with me. And if you don't know, please just put your message in the chat, okay? And I'll try and answer the best I can. FYI, if you're brand new to the channel, by the way, I am not a financial advisor. I am not even an economist. I'm just someone who applies logic and researches really aggressively to try and get to underlying assets of what I need to look at, okay? So, like I said, I'm absolutely more than comfortable for people to question my research and people to question where I'm at with some of this stuff, but I'm going to show you some really interesting stuff here. So, everyone FOMO bought gold, exactly as we said they were going to do, and then we said they were going to get wrecked as well. We said the central banks are going to dump on everyone buying gold. So you had this mad rush, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We talked about that as well. Everyone goes to the bank. I have $10,000 in the bank and I'm like, oh my God, I need to buy gold. Gold's the asset I want to get into. Everyone's telling me gold's going to the freaking moon. Forget, if we sort of do this, right? And just forget that big red candle. It's like, oh my God, I have to get in gold. Everyone's buying gold. Sheila down the road's told me she's buying gold. My mum's buying gold. Like, I've got to get in, right? I've got to get in. I've got classes for that too, but. So I'm buying gold, okay? I want to get in there. If you're a normie, where do you carry loads of your money, right? Loads of your money's sat basically in the banks. You go, right, okay, I'm going to go buy 10 grand's worth of gold because gold's going to the moon and everyone's told me it's going to go there. So I go to the bank and I say, hey, Mr. Bankman, I want £10,000 out of my bank or $10,000 out of my account. They say, what would you like it for? I'm going to go buy gold. The banks go, okay, cool. Well, gold's pretty overvalued. Like, you sure you want to go buy gold? Like, we don't think it's a good idea. What about this ETF product? That's why we saw insane amounts going into gold ETFs. Let me show you an example. We saw $16 billion going into some of these ETF lists for gold, which is absolutely wild. Look at these, $185 billion in the GLD, which is the SPDR Gold Shares Trust, with an average volume of nearly 14.6 billion, dropping in 25% yield. Don't kid myself, iShares, the IAU, $84 billion. Like, some of these gold ETFs are freaking skyrocketing, right? They're absolutely skyrocketing because people are going to get their money out of the banks. They go to then say, I want to go buy gold. And people are like, oh, well, maybe think about going into a gold ETF. And they're like, oh, what's a gold ETF? Oh, well, these are great products. They track the gold market. Like, get yourselves in. They're amazing. Like 20% yield. So everyone's taking cash out of the banks. How do we know? How do we know people are taking money out of the banks? This is the important narrative here. How do we know that people are taking money out of the banks? Well, we can track it. We track it with this. And again, this channel, me, Us as a community have been talking about this now forever. The overnight reverse repurchase agreements, essentially the Federal Reserve dumping liquidity into the banks at a net APR of 3%. Look at the numbers that came in at the back end of last week. $9.6 billion have had to be put into the banking system because people took their money out, went and bought freaking gold, shit the bed when gold dumped. People then have no money. They are then net realizing loads of losses. So the banks then don't get that money back. Why the banks dumping huge amounts of gold? Because they're trying to replenish for the next mad run. Why is it going to be a next mad run? Because people are freaking out. They think the dollar's going to zero. So you have this massive move here. And this number, by the way, is as big as we've seen for the longest time. In fact, you have to go all the way back to last year, the back end of last year of December 2025 to see the insane number, which is the end of the year, which will have definitely been some just financial manipulation to basically bring you in for the year, okay? Loads of big companies do it. They basically manipulate their books into last year, into this year. So look at that. You can see here, like, fiscal policy is absolutely insane. And when you go all the way back, you're talking like middle or towards the end of 2025 before we're seeing the numbers that are going through right now. So why is this important and how is this going to play out? Well, we also have a pretty interesting review here from the LBMA. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, what the f is the LBMA? 2-bit crypto? Well, the LBMA basically tracks the annual precious metals forecast survey. Where do they think metals, gold, silver, all that stuff's going to go? And what's really interesting here is that they believe that they're overpriced. Gold remains the headline story after a record-breaking 2025. Analysts expect the metal to average 38% above last year's levels, fueled by expectation of lower US real rates, continued Fed easing, and unwavering central bank diversification away from the dollar. That's great, all right? That's great. Brilliant. However, precious metals are set for a volatile 2026 as momentum collides with mounting risks. Hold on a minute. So they're forecasting a big return. Now, that's all fine. When you've got markets going up, you've got basically a consensus in the US that it's all going to be fine. Now, people are kind of like, well, it's all good. The banks are solid, right? We're definitely not going to a recession. Everyone's told us we're not going to a recession. New Federal Reserve Chair. It's all starting to come together. Oh, shit. Metropolitan Capital Bank and Trust closed. All right. First bank of 2026 goes bust. This is a problem. So the Federal Reserve are dumping $10 billion into banks. They're dumping $100 billion at the end of this year, and they still lose one of the banks. This will not be the first one, by the way. This is absolutely going to be the first one. This is going to be not going to be the first one. This is going to be the end one, okay? So this sets the scene. So think about what we've just talked about. And I apologize if I'm getting like super excited about this, but it's all coming together. And then I'm going to tell you why there is an argument for the bear market. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And let me tell you, I'm getting ready to press the buy button on something big. More on that in just a minute. If you haven't already subscribed, definitely do so. So you've got these banks collapsing. You've got the Fed trying to prop it up as best you can. Now, the other thing you've got is the Federal Reserve new chair, Kevin Warsh, where people are going, oh, well, he doesn't like interest rate cuts. He likes tight policy. Yeah, he does 18 years ago when he first was on the board of governors, not when he's Trump's pick. And if you think that he hasn't got a mandate from Trump to cut rates, then you are insane, which then leads us to potentially starting to see the bear market get through and then sort of a little bit more coming back on the other side of it. So that's kind of interesting to think about. Now, I know what you're thinking. 2-bit, you've just blown my mind with all of this stuff. Like, I've come here for a little bit of a laugh. Come here just to kind of hang out and chill out. Like, you've freaking blown my mind to pieces. So gold and silver and the excitable hype that we've seen on that has essentially over-leveraged markets and caused a crash, right? That's my opinion. That's where I'm at. Okay. So why then do we believe that we could be heading into a bear market, and what do we need to understand on the back of it? Well, this, I know you guys can't see it. Okay, I'll show you, all right? Will it drop more? I think so. Let me show you this. Okay, you can't really see it. I'm sorry, TikTok. Hold on a minute. There you go, look. Can you guys see this? You can't really see this. It's not the best chart in the world, is it? So there you go, TikTok. This is the GMI US total liquidity year over year. Essentially, how much money is in the freaking system. And as you can see here, that actually in 2025 and going into 2026, we are at relatively low levels, comparably to a 2021 and 2017 bull market cycle tops. What essentially this is showing us is that there is no freaking money in the system. Why is there no money in the system? Because they all just got wiped out on gold and silver. $6 trillion. Like, holy shit. Like, people are lunatics. Anyway, so this is important because basically when this changes, This then should start to rally us back on the market. And historically, when you look at bear markets, what depicts the bottom of a bear market, other than sentiment being through the floor? A very restrictive liquidity. What does that mean? Fed rates are high, okay? So we keep federal rates high. We essentially have restrictive policy. The other thing to understand is, how do we know that at the minute, liquidity is relatively restrictive? And this is super interesting. I mean, I don't know if you guys think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Let me show you something here, right? This might, I mean, I don't know. This might blow your minds. It might not. I don't know if it will or not, but when I looked at it, I was like, oh my King God, how have we missed this? The massive set of noobs that we are. All right. So, sorry, I'm just trying to get this chart up. Oh, that doesn't help me at all, actually. Okay, let me go to, does that help? Okay, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Okay. So you will have seen this chart before. You will have seen me talk about this chart before, but this is the TGA, the Treasury General Account, essentially where the US puts their money. Think of it as a debit account for paying country bills, all right? So whether you want to build some infrastructure or whether you want to spend some money on whatever it is. Now, what's super interesting here is everyone's been in this narrative of, including me, by the way, so I'm not sitting here preaching from some sort of mounting saying, told you all, I knew this was all going to happen. Like, I'm not, right? I'm here. I'm in the trenches. But when things get tough, when things get questionable, that's when I go deep into some research. That's when I absolutely just completely focus on what we need to focus so that hopefully we all come out the other side. What can you note here? Well, let's talk about the last time the government shut down. Well, the last time the government shut down was around here, the back end of 2025, September, October time. I think it was about here, right? So this was kind of middle of October, government shut down. We were sitting just under $1 billion in the TGA. What do you note here? Historically, we see money flow out of the TGA. Well, guess what? The Fed didn't do it. They didn't do it. They kept money. They flowed about $100 million out of it. That's it. That's freaking insane. Look at these moves prior. Governments, you know, we talked about some government shutdown before, but TGA, look how quickly this went from 14th of February, $800 billion. Within a month, 6 weeks, we lost $400 million. So government shuts down here, just under $1 billion. And like 4 months later on, we lose about $100 million, right? It's insane. So why didn't the Fed do it? Why didn't the Fed allow this money to shut down? They freaking knew this was coming, right? They knew this was coming. They knew there was going to be a second shutdown. They cannot afford to see loads of bank collapses. This is bad news. And actually, let me show you on this Bitcoin chart, because I went into this before as well, and you'll see here that I actually put in, so the government shutdown, look, so you can see here, look, government shutdown, we've dumped ever since. Silvergate Bank, though, collapsing was a market bottom. Now, I'm not saying that this bank's coming in, but historically, that depicts a market bottom for risk assets. What does the Federal Reserve not want to do? Let risk assets pump. They can't. They need the fucking banking sector going. That's why I tell you banks are a scam, by the way. But anyway, they need the banking to come in. So where does this all, and I'm going to get to your questions and stuff in a minute. I just want to get all this kind of out to everybody. So where does that leave us? Okay. Well, it leaves us with this. The GMI US Total Liquidity Index year over year. This needs to go up. Liquidity has to come into the market in order to push risk assets. Even the friggin' stock market, it needs to push that. At the minute, we have no liquidity. There is no new liquidity coming to this market. Things are too expensive. Tariff nervousness, geopolitical events, all of that stuff that we talk about all the time is a thing. It's a factor. And that's what's playing out when you look at these liquidity. And it all aligns. It's insane. People take money out. They go and, hold on a minute. People take money out. They go and buy gold, right? The US Treasury doesn't then take money out. The Fed are dumping huge amounts of money into banks. Banks are still freaking collapsing, which is almost insane. And global demand for gold is still going up. So now it's become a race. And actually, when you look at how much China's buying, China are even fraudulently reporting how much gold they're getting, which is even crazier. Like, you think about that sort of stuff. So this all plays out to a pretty interesting narrative, while at the same time, like I said, the LBMA are telling us that it's going to be a super volatile year and a high risk year on metals, which is kind of wild. We know the banks are dumping it, as we said. You know, 200 tons they've dumped. Expectation of 2026. It's like, what the hell's going on? So Where does that bring us to? Because too bad, I just want to know that the market's going to shit and should I sell them in stablecoin or not? Well, I can only tell you what I did and I am doing. I am not going in stablecoin out of any of these. I did convert some more of my outer move, so my fringe assets into stablecoin. So any of the kind of MetaMask, DeFi, all of that stuff, any outlying ETH into stablecoin, right? Because I think the market is going to push down further. I'm really uncomfortable with gold futures because they are looking terrible, negative 11%, silver. So this market's going to collapse, I think, when the market's open. Look at silver futures right now. They're down 31% at 78 bucks. I think when this market opens at midnight, it's going to be painful, all right? That's just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, okay? So I actually de-risked again, but I still have Solana, XRP, all of those. They're still sat in where I need them, okay? I haven't sold anything of that. This is what we need to track. We need to track liquidity coming back into the market. This could be good news. What we don't want to see is gold and silver pump again. We don't need to see that, right? That's not going to play out well. Understand, though. Understand there are some elements of positivity that we can think about. Not much right now. Not much. But, like we said, there could still be a flick. And these historically play out in bear market cycles. And then if you think, well, this bear market might not be as bad as the previous ones, then it probably plays out. If we were to look at, for example, previous years, and we understand where bear markets particularly start. Let me bring the Bitcoin chart back up because it's just a bit easier. And we understand what that looks like and how they play out. Well, macro support breaks. So what does this mean? Essentially, people go risk off. Well, we're seeing that right now. People are going to build. Leverage flushes. These are big when you get bear markets. Why? Because you get a trend down, you get a few days of upside move. Everyone thinks it's all back. It's all great. The markets are not doing what it's doing. Everything's coming back. Boom, massive leverage flush. Alts bleed, BTC dominance starts to rise up. And the real bottom, how do you know when the bottom of the bear market's in? It isn't capitulation. It's not massive sell-offs. It's when everyone hates crypto. Everyone hates it. They don't like it. No one's going to invest in it. Everyone thinks you're a lunatic because you're invested in it. That is how you define it, okay? You look for a number of different elements. So what have we seen in the past that could align to us into the future? So 200-week moving average. We lost that a while back. Historically, a very good indicator of the bottom that's coming in. We also know that essentially funding stops coming into the market. Open interest collapses. No one cares. Spot demands, all that kind of stuff, right? No one gives a flying. Also, generally speaking, bottoms are around 200-week moving average, and downtrends in the past have been anything between 60% and 80%. Okay, we've seen them in the past, and we've seen that we've seen that push down. For example, 2014, 2015, 2018, 2019, and 2020. So these are kind of where things play out. So what does that give us in terms of price targets? A 50% drawdown, which essentially would actually be an okay move based on the all-time high, would be about 62,500, 60% at 50K. And think about this, by the way, historically, 2014 to 2015 was an 86% correction from all-time highs. 2018 to 2019 was 84%, and 2022 was 74%, okay? These also saw aggressive all-time highs for BTC, and we haven't really seen that. Statistically, you could argue that this could be a bottom of $20,000 to $31,000, which is why I'm saying actually some bottom prices might not be the worst. My view, I'm still sticking to where I think. I think we're going to be between 50 and 40%, which takes us between 67,000 and 62,500. That's my prediction if this is indeed the bear market. Now, the other debate would be, well, historically, the bear market would have started here, October the 7th, which tells us that right now we are already well into 116 days. That means we might have about another 100, 150 days, and booyakasha, we're on our way back up. So it might not be as bad as we all think it is. But still, worth noting there. And actually, if you think about, are we in a bear market? Technically and statistically, you would say, yes, we are. Unfortunately, that is just the facts of where we are. Emotionally, none of us want to believe it. None of us want to believe it. But if we prepare for the worst, as I always say, then we can absolutely execute the best plan on the back of it. So yeah, BTC more than likely to drop to 60K range. I think so. Yeah, Jose says I expect in mid-60s. Yeah, I think based on statistics and what previous cycles have done, that's what we're saying. Will BTC continue to drop? I think so, yeah. I think we're going to be in for an absolute shit show in about 3 hours. In my opinion, gold futures, silver futures look awful. So the last time they looked this bad, it was boom shaka. Time to buy the dip. Damien, I don't think so. Personally, my view is wait. I think be greedy in stable coins right now. I'm sat in stable coins. I'm sat there in waiting to see. People calling for 30K won't be buying anything. I mean, maybe, like I said, statistically, if it was to follow the previous 3 bear markets, you could argue for a 30K Bitcoin. I don't think so either. I think there's too much money tied up in ETFs and institutional. However, if BlackRock just went, okay, we're liquidating everything, then we might be in for a significant amount of pain. But anyway, that's kind of where I get to with it, and that's what we need to look at. Think about this. BTC stops making lower lows. That's the first indicator we're looking for a potential bear market bottom. 3 to 6 weeks of sideways price. Funding as neutral. Spot buying and no leverage. This is another big thing. Remember, people are high leverage. So we're seeing all these liquidation events. It's insane. This is an important reference. And the 200-day moving average is reclaimed after the bear market cycle. Okay, so these are some things to think about. We're going to keep it dialed in as we think. But right now, just be mindful. I've bought plenty of ETH worth 3,700. I hope it survives. ETH will be fine, by the way. Longer term, I think ETH will be fine. If you're in Husky Inu, Sunshine Inu, like they're going to be a problem. I don't know what they are, by the way, but if you're in any kind of fringe altcoin that's telling you they're going to change the world, they're the ones to be mindful. Ethereum's only going to get better, cheaper, faster. It's a multi-cycle asset. Ethereum will be fine. XRP, Solana, all of these. It's if you're in, the top, if you're in 500 to 1,000 altcoins, might be a bit risky. All right. So let me know what you guys think, okay? I'm curious about your thoughts. I mean, Bitcoin again dropping just while we've been live. 76.7, down 2.4% on a low liquidity Sunday day. I think people are front running what's coming. And I think, when you look at futures markets, and we'll take a look at them, I think it's going to be rough. All right. Lucky says, my worst case, 35 to 30K. I've always said summertime pump. I mean, they would align. That would literally align perfectly. Mouse says, my future is silver and BTC. I'm top heavy on XRP, like 90% of my portfolio. Also hold a lump of Fleur. I think over the next 5-10 years, things will get really... Yeah, look, longer term, it's fine. It's just short term. It's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. Tim, I was told that silver is not profitable to mine. The big mines have stopped and are going to stop, which, well, I don't know if they have. And if they do stop, that generally means price will go up. The world is in the same spot. They can't mine enough silver to keep up the collapse of price on paper, manipulate by... Well, do you see all the stuff in China? I mean, it looked insane over there. They're just fiddling everything. It's wild. It's wild. Can't buy physical silver in Australia till the 23rd. Perth Mint has stopped. Yeah, well, there's all that stuff in the US as well, where they were just like, yep. And you look at aggregated price, like compared to what they should be buying, it's insane if you think about it. If you think about it, which is, well, I guess Justin Sun isn't happy with his girlfriend. Oh, yeah, I saw that. They all know they want as much as possible. They have the money to pump and nuke this market. True, I saw that as well with ETFs. So, yeah, bad news. Yeah, Bitcoin BJ, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you for the 5, by the way. Right at the back. Sailor bought the low, his customers bought high. Yeah, that is true. If BTC hits 30K, Sailor will be pissed. Well, I mean, everyone thinks he's going to get liquidated, which isn't true, by the way. Dr. Crypto, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Good time to buy BTC. I mean, look, it's a better time than buying at 125K right now, but I just think it goes lower. I can't help but think it goes lower. And, I talked about some of these key lines. It's broke every line I've got. And I think as you get this mad rush, like I said, the worst thing you could get is a run on gold and silver again. Why? It restricts liquidity in the banks. The banks, therefore, need to sell more gold to pay. It's just a self-fulfilling doom loop. And then you'll get some more banks collapsing. And then it's like, okay, now recession's around the corner. The only thing you've got here is Trump's going to try and pump this market like you wouldn't believe. Like he is going to, if people think Kevin Warsh is not going to cut rates, he'll be the shortest serving Federal Reserve chair. I can guarantee it. He will absolutely nuke rates. I'll tell you that now. People are going to think he won't, but he will. He will. He won't go too crazy because don't forget, Mirren will be a push for it. We know Waller went last. He will push for rates cuts definitely, but he won't be able to come in heavy. He'll just cut them every time. He can't go for a 50. I don't think on the first one. He'll do 25. My gut, by the way, 25, 50, 25. That's a percent in 4 months. So he will definitely bring them down, which should ease liquidity pressures. The debate will be at what price are we going to be at? BTC, if you look on the weekly candles, for example, this is a really, really aggressive weekly candle that we're going to close on. Well, you could argue we're probably 6, 7, 8 weeks away from even seeing the first couple of cuts. Well, even if we had a moderate cut, you could talk about 8% in a week quite easily. 8% from where we are gets us to 70K. We're 3 weeks away from the bottom, potentially. Now, I don't think we'll get some relief rallies, etc., and all that kind of stuff, but that's my view. What came first, the hen or the egg? Who knows? Good question, though. Good question. Trade still on the weekend. Trade is best. I made 2x in the day. Nice. Yeah, I did actually look to get a Bitcoin trade on, but I'm glad I didn't. I was going to go for 78K and I would have been underwater. It's not boring chatting about something you have absolutely no control over. So you don't have control over Bitcoin, but you have control of what you do with your money when it comes to Bitcoin, isn't it? That's like saying, do you never talk about money? You can't control the price of things unless you own your own shop, but you still talk about it. So no, I actually find it incredibly exciting, and I like to really get deep into this kind of stuff. Bear in mind, I don't have an economic background. I work in retail. I manage a multi-million-dollar, organization on each week. So yeah. Have you looked at Exceller and Sentinel? I thought they were both nuked, Anthony, in my opinion. I haven't looked at them recently, but we did look at them before. I know Exceller I did some videos on, but yeah, it's I think they're pretty nuked. Again, you have to be very select to what you find out there. Do you watch Simon Dixon? Don't know who that is. Please mark new levels for BTC. All right. Well, let's probably stick to the 3-day. Do we want to stick to the 3-day? Okay, let's do the daily, actually. Let's do the daily. So right now, this horizontal line that we've got, the pink line is probably the historic lows that we've got. So you're looking at key areas here of like, where are some big areas of price action where we historically have seen it. So you could argue that would probably be your next price target as an example. Because the reason is you've got, liquidity bounce here. This is where we got a retest here. So this line here around 74,700 would probably be where I would predict our next bounce will be. You could also take a Fibonacci retracement here and go from the top to the bottom here of when Silvergate collapsed, which is kind of the bottom end. Where do these, hold on a minute. There it is. Bottom of that move. Where does that line up to? These will be a key thing. So, perfectly between the 0.5 and the 0.618 is kind of where we're talking, but 70,000 will be another indicator. And then, as we've said a number of times, this is my like bear market, boom shakalaka go. What do you think of Pump and Sui? I like Sui. I think Sui will have a very, very good future, by the way. Pump, I feel like it's one federal lawsuit away from being shut down. Not to say that it can't do anything. Memes right now will either pump or they'll dump. Pepe's up 1%, Pump down 6%. So I don't mind it. It's revenue generation, so it's not built on hype. It actually has utility. But bear markets, are people going to be launching loads of shit coins? Don't know. Maybe. XDC was up 10% or was. XDC, yeah, 5.8 right now. Bitcoin Cash as well, which is up. But 5.16. The other way to look at some of this stuff, there is some absolute bargains if you believe that, we're going to go up from here. At the same time, we could way go lower. So yes, there would be sort of two, that would definitely be one for me there. And then historically, you go a little bit lower. You're talking 72K out. Yeah, probably a bit lower, actually. 71.4 would be probably another line I would look at. Which if you were trading these, by the way, check out Bitunix, link in the description, also in the bio in our free Discord that you should definitely be involved in. Then they're sort of worth looking at. These will be where you get good bounces potentially as well. So you can even try and trade the longs or look for the momentum pushes down on the shorts. So yeah, Lunks up 10. Yeah, I saw Lunks up 10%. I haven't really been keeping up to speed with what's going on there, but yeah. Shu says, seeing as there wasn't much of an alt season, could altcoins decouple and go up much? But I don't think so. Not at the minute. The biggest problem is this. There's no liquidity in the market. That's the biggest thing, which aligns to what Raoul Powell talked about. ISM we get this week, don't forget, which we could get an expansion in manufacturing, which could be pretty interesting. But my view right now, I think you just have to be really sensible, be really, really, methodical. Don't trade with emotion. So we get ISM manufacturing PMI tomorrow. Expectations 48.3. That would be a uptick of 0.4% if it comes in, essentially now saying that we are heading back to potential manufacturing expansion. If that was the case, then you could argue that mid-year, this could all play out in a very interesting move. More liquidity could come into the market and expand an economy, etc., etc., etc. All right, that could be a thing. WF Capital in the building says buy Zebek and hold. That could be one. It could be one. Definitely. Whether it is or not is another question, I guess. Nathaniel says, hopefully we'll go much lower. Maybe. It feels like it. XTC bottom is definitely in. Mike, what are your thoughts on the new Canton done or profit taken? Time to sell, you think? I saw some people talking about it yesterday. Where is it? Canton. So, it's a stand. Here's the thing. It's down 7%. That's a pretty aggressive dip on this, but the whole market's completely tanked today. So, you know, it's at the lower range here right now. If it bounces from here, then, you know, I think you could push a little bit higher right now. You know, this is very typical of a market move and market selling, but, you know, look at the structure you've got here. This is a nice uptrend here. So Canton could bounce and head back up. Privacy narrative. People are now thinking, Zcash, not sure about. Allegedly in the Epstein files, brought the 200 EMA. You're like, oh, not sure about that. Monero's absolutely dumping its ass off. So this entire move that was basically from hackers now not becomes a thing. Canton may be the sensible player when it comes to privacy coins. Like, you know, you only need to get a few bits around like, oh, we're going to restrict crypto assets. I mean, look what like Keir Starmer's trying to do in the UK. Like, it's insane. Then, you know, Canton may get a bit of a rally. My fear is, as I said, I think we are in for a pretty not great pre-market and probably a pretty heavy sell-off as well. Cryptovarius, what's going on? Says, I've been heavily buying 11 coins. Bro, you missed my comments twice today. Can you please check Arkham Intel Wallet on Sailor, BlackRock to understand what's going on? Like if you checked earlier. Yeah, I mean, nothing is going on. It's the weekend, just to give you an idea. So Sailor hasn't done anything. He's allegedly setting up to buy tomorrow. Now, what is worth noting here, and I talked about this in my Bitcoin update video. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Likewise, if you haven't seen my latest XRP video, you need to go watch that. If you're bullish on XRP, go and watch that video. 13,000 banks just got integrated into XRP. Go and watch it. It's freaking insane, all right? Again, when people just start to panic about the markets, that's when this channel goes hard on research and brings you absolute, up-to-date, factual information. So if you're not already watching some of my videos, I highly recommend doing so. Always open to some feedback, but just FYI, go and watch these two videos, all right? This one here, 13,000 banks integrated into XRP, all right? I absolutely bring the receipts for that video. And then obviously check this out here. The crypto crash is hiding a much bigger move. We've talked a little bit about some of it. Again, this is the point. We're going deep into this, all right? So go and watch them. Okay, so Sailor is hinting at he's going to buy some more. People are freaking out, saying he's going to get liquidated, blah, 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 right? He's not. Let's understand this. The only problem he's got, and I don't know how the mechanic works, is if people start to dump. 76,038 bucks is where his basically his flat price is. That doesn't mean that he hasn't got capital, doesn't mean he hasn't got money in the bank. And bear in mind, he's just raised like $4 billion in the last 3 weeks in the market downturn. Sailor's going to be fine. But when it comes to actual on-chain data, there's nothing going on with strategy right now. Everything is pretty flat. We can check it here. So not a lot going on in terms of strategy wallets. Maybe he buys tomorrow. Again, you can see there, this is some of the buying that we got last week, but nothing, you know, nothing super wild. When you will look at BlackRock, nothing's happened with BlackRock as well. Again, they're all weekday, weekend buyers that's been going on. Now, that doesn't mean that stuff wasn't happening with exchanges, just to, you know, be dead clear. So you can see there, look, BlackRock to Coinbase, they dumped a load of Bitcoin on Friday. Expect a load more selling tomorrow as well, which is kind of, you know, not great if we're dead honest. Let me just bring this up and show you guys. We are not in a bear market until we break 74.5. Why would that? Tell me why that's an important level. I'm not being facetious, by the way. I'm just curious to know why you think that. So let me know why 74.5k is the bear market signal for you. Rails coming live soon too. Yeah, exactly. I think we'll see a relief and then back down. Yeah, Channel probably. That's a historical and obvious bear market signal that, yeah, you see, you know, rallies. Everyone's like, oh, we're back. It's fine. And then boom, down you go again. So we saw nearly $1 billion of crypto ETF net outflows on Friday. And remember, some of this data is telling us what is expected versus what has actually happened. You can see there, look, BlackRock potentially going to dump 4,000. Grayscale dump, you know, it's going to be, this could be a big shit show in about 2.5 hours. Just my opinion, by the way. Just my opinion. And I will back it up with the fact that the pre-markets look terrible. So again, look at this. The Dow Jones down, the S&P down, the NASDAQ 300 points down, everything in Asia. Look at this. The HSI is down 2%. It's 580 points. Oh no, it's going to be bad. You know, commodities down, the VIX index showing extreme volatility. And look at this, the Russell down. Everything is pointing to a fucking disaster. Bear in mind, the market's closed before we got that big sell-off as well. So be very mindful. I think we're in for a significant amount of pain very, very soon. All right, so let me close some of these windows down so that we're a bit more streamlined. Okay, don't forget, if you got any questions, thoughts, opinions, give me your views, give me your thoughts. I'm always open to discussions. And again, let me know what you think. You know, is it a bear market? Are people, you know, convinced or not? Bear in mind, I'm not here to tell you either way. I'm just giving you my view, my thoughts. If you enjoy my thoughts, if you enjoy my content, by the way, hit the follow button on TikTok. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, we do have a totally free Discord. If you want to get in that Discord, great community. Good. It's good to be part of a community, by the way. And you know, in times like this, then we should absolutely be in there. If you want a little bit more, by the way, which is our premium Discord, which has got 2 trading bots in there, all the alpha, trade signals, any trades I'm taking on, direct access to me as well. It's $6 a month if you grab a YouTube channel membership. If not, you can get it through whoop.com/crypto, which is about $15 a month. All right. But totally worth it, in my opinion. Again, you're paying $50 elsewhere. We also have our learn to trade guides in there. We actually have a brand new guide come in by the end of this week, which is how to trade against the 20-day EMA, which is going to be super, super interesting. So if you enjoy doing all that, you know, you've got $50 on loads of other channels. Ours, $6. 6. That's it. I mean, eventually we're definitely going to hype the price up. It's going to be like $20, but in my opinion, worth getting involved. Even just the bots themselves are great in there. So yeah, check it out. Bro, just asking, it's possible BTC goes down, ETH remains around 2,300? No. Or do it down? Yes. No. If anything, ETH's performing worse than Bitcoin. Bitcoin dumps, ETH will dump even worse. So yeah, understand that you've got really thin liquidity right now. This is the problem. There is so little liquidity in this market that, you know, if you get pushes down the market, like for example, if BlackRock dump $1 billion, like understand this market's going to get nuked. Like you'll probably lose $2,000 off the price of Bitcoin. And then everyone just freaks out. Everyone goes into cash. Look at USDT and USDC. Look at those two. That's insane. Like the spike on these as everyone is just rushing for it. You look at Tether's, you know, Tether's reserves right now. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Now there's a bigger debate right now where the Binance is, you know, doing some stuff and they shouldn't be. And what's interesting is CZ's trying his very best to, you know, deflect away from that. But yeah, lots to talk about. Yeah, it's a bear market. Nathan thinks it is. I haven't blinked in the last 40 minutes. Fascinating research too, but enjoying this live. Hey, thanks so much, man. Like I say, if you do enjoy the live, do enjoy the content, by the way, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Remember, we try and go way deeper in any of this stuff. We try and just, you know, if you watch my videos, by the way, macro videos we're talking about now, we're getting into the reasons why, as opposed to just, oh, we're going to zero and it's all going to be garbage. I want to bring you the reasons why. And what's even better this week, by the way, FYI, I'm actually not at work. I'm not in my normal 9 to 5. So you better believe we're going to be all over it this week. We're going to be bringing you absolute up-to-date super alpha as to what's going on. So yeah, get involved. Get involved. All right, good. I see people jumping in the Discord as well. So welcome in. Hopefully you guys can do the, what do you call it? The verification. It's super easy to do, by the way. Super easy to do. So yeah, if you're not sure, go into the help box and see it. But again, /verify gives you a code, then do /verify code, enter, boom. It changes your role, and then I can give you access to our full Discord. So again, what we don't want is loads of complete choppers in there because, you know, we're trying to make sure that we manage it. If you are trying to get in the Discord, by the way, and you're in the live stream, just tell me and I'll show you what to do. All right, good. Good. Thanks for the follows on TikTok, by the way, as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Bullish on you guys. Like I said, if you enjoy the content, I am posting regular updates to TikTok as well, just to give you sort of the views as to what's going on. Yeah, I know, Tomato Pete. There's definitely some stuff. I'm going through some stuff for them, but yeah, it's really like CZ's like, oh, it's fine, super cycle, and then all of a sudden Binance liquidate another $1 billion. You're like, pretty interesting. The new chair needs 6 votes to cut rates. Aggressive. Aggressive. Good luck. I mean, true, but again, this is the debate, isn't it? How much is because of Jerome Powell and how much is actually because that's how they feel about monetary policy? That's going to be the big debate, isn't it? So we know Waller's dissented. We know Stephen Mirren's dissented. Essentially, if Kevin Walsh would dissent and say, look, we need rate cuts, it's like anything, isn't it? You know, I believe Jerome Powell was like, no, we're not cutting rates. The economy's fine. And maybe that's something we can research tomorrow night. What is the general sentiment from lots of the people in the Federal Reserve? Because I think some are neutral. I mean, bear in mind, there was only 2 that thought we should get rate hikes. So some are neutral, which I believe then they could be swayed. Again, we'll see, but yeah. Have you thought about the consequence of no alt season if it doesn't happen, what that means for the future? I mean, I think what you probably find, I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I think what you find will be that you'll just see loads of altcoins die over the next probably 18 months. So, you know, there'll be all these like random altcoins. Everyone was like convinced we're going to be the next big thing. My view is things like Zcash, Monero will just dissipate into the ether again and no one cares about them. You'll see like as much as I might get a lot of hate for this. I might get a lot of hate. All right. But I'm going to say it. And people are going to probably hate me for it. But I think as well, I think you see things, I think you see things like Casper just disappear. I just don't think people care about them enough. I don't think they delivered enough for what people thought. It's at 3 cents right now, another 2.5% down. It's at a market cap of 848 million. Like it's going to zero. No, it's not going to zero. That's unfair actually. But think about it. You know, right now, Casper is only about 100% away from its launch price. Like think about that. You know, think of all the excitement. This is the problem, you see. Fundamentals matter. Do you need 1 million transactions per second? No, you don't. That's the problem. So, I could definitely see something like Casper just being that coin of, you know, that everyone remembers from 2025 that everyone got super hyped about. You know, Asta could go to fucking zero. Like there'll just be coins that just disappear. And I think that's where some of these will just end up going and no one will care about them. Do I think that SHIB's going anywhere? No. Do I think Pepe is going to go anywhere? Probably not. But yeah, I think that's kind of what happens. 9% goes in. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, don't forget, the reason why I don't think we got an altcoin is because there's so many altcoins that you had such spread liquidity and that, you know, people were aping into all sorts of random stuff. I mean, you look at the number of cryptocurrencies on here. There'll be coins that we've never even heard of that I'm sure have, you know, done very well or whatever it is. But, you know, you look at, let's go to the top 500 coins. Okay, what is the top 500 coins on CoinMarketCap right now? Let's go to number 500 and see what it is. Top 100 altcoins are good. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're in that top end, then you're probably going to be fine. So, I mean, Snek just about gets in here, but I mean, any of these that we've sort of, you know, heard about. I mean, Nairo, Memecoin, $35 million market cap, going to zero, probably not doing anything down here. I mean, these will just not be here, but these have got like big market cap, $38 million market cap on these. Rocket Pool, I mean, I remember seeing that one, for example. What else have you got out of here? Mango Network, GMT, I remember seeing that one. That was a while back. Harmony One, do you remember that? $42 million market cap, 4 million in volume, that's it. Nothing. Like, these are where I think altcoins maybe start to rotate. Useless Coin, $43 million market cap. Like, this thing was like ripping. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's the next huge meme coin. Let's go. Everything's like, look at it. It rallied from 43, 10x, was at nearly $500 million market cap. Now it's struggling to buy a newspaper. So I think when you think about altcoins, what you might get, weirdly, would be a really restrictive altcoin season, the next one, where people stick to like top 100s or whatever it is. So yeah. This market is so random right now. You get macro news and it dumps. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Manipulation's definitely in there. And as people say that it isn't, are absolutely full of shit. Okay, 1 second. Crypto Don. Let me just check it out. It says successful. All right, cool. Is that you? Yeah, I can see you there. Look, so I go into here. I give you that. I take that off and I take that off. Boom! There you are. You're in, bro. You're fully in. So yeah, you should be able to see you should be able to see like the general chat now. You'll see all my YouTube videos, tax info. Obviously, if you want to get a little bit more access, grab that channel membership down below. $6. That gives you access to all our other bits as well, which is our trade signals, our full learn to trade guides, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, stick around, hang out. The free bit's cool as well. I'm in there. Lots of people discussing stuff. So yeah, always worthwhile being in there, in my opinion. So yeah, good. All right. Keep your questions coming in. Keep your thoughts and opinions. I'm bullish on you guys. Let's do it. Let's keep it vibing. Let's keep it moving. I mean, technically, if it is a bear market, we'll all be heading to our second bear market together. Bartha says MSTI will drop Monday. I think the whole market's going to drop in about 2.5 hours. In my opinion. Useless Coin does exactly what it says in the tin. Exactly, Tomato Pete. Yeah, exactly. Toby says, could we get a relief rally? I mean, maybe. I mean, not a relief rally. I don't think a relief rally is going to happen. Could you get a couple of days of green candles? Yeah. Could you get some stabilization in the market? Probably. For example, if ISM comes in on Tuesday, well, if ISM comes in reasonably okay tomorrow, and we actually do see an element of expansion, then yeah, markets might start to price a little bit more favor in there. Job openings comes in Tuesday, that could be bullish. ISM services comes in, which historically has been propping the market up. That could be better. Then you get an employment rate coming in on Friday. You could get a reasonable week, I guess. Larry says, I've been in the bear market my entire life. I know the feeling, bro. I know the feeling. But do I see all-time highs again anytime soon? No, I've got to be honest. I don't. Which is why I've been saying for the last 3 or 4 weeks, short-term bearish, long-term bullish. We'll see. So, right. Oh, that's annoying. I was going to try and get... a feel for what the Fed members were sort of saying, but yeah, we don't really get a lot other than Miram we know about, Waller we know about. How do I get the live calls? Just join on YouTube. Yeah, so basically you can either do it one of two ways. So you either do it in the in whoop.com, which is like $15, or if you head to the bottom of the screen, there's a button that says join, and you just become a channel member. It's a monthly pay of like $6, and then what that does is gives you access to everything else. As always, I think, right now, I'll show you guys what you get. So if you become a channel member, by the way, you get access to these down here. So you can see these chat requests, which is where our bots are, alpha calls, which is only meme coin players and anything that goes in. We also put trade signals in there, which sort of tells you what we're looking at and anything that comes down. For example, we talked about Zcash setup. We talked about the Canton trade at 12 cents. That printed a pretty good one. But the important bit here is you get access to these bots as well. So, for example, you can look at some TA. Let's say you're not super up to speed. I want to look at TA on XRP. Simply /TA and then enter XRP. It's going to bring up what's going on with it. So you can see here, look, it's near lower bands on the Bollinger Bands. It's oversold on the MF. You also got the RSI of 36.09. So it's giving you an indication as to maybe what you could be looking at and whether it's worthwhile. You can see the ADX signal is a strong bearish trend, right? So it's kind of one of those where you're like, okay, well, I'm probably going to sit on my hands and wait and see what happens. Now, it doesn't just do that, by the way. You can also pull charts up. You can pull all sorts up there if you're interested. Like, so we've got 2 bots that you can use in there. So you can look at, for example, alt season index. You can look at, what else can you look at? Anything on DeFi, all sorts of stuff, right? You can look at all sorts of stuff. Any trending coins, heat maps, so what's the heat map doing? What are coins looking at? I'm thinking of buying something. Where do I want to get to? It's click of a button, boom. It's going to tell you what's good, what's bad. So again, you can open this up and see all of these coins. Hype's up. Oh, I might take a look at what's going on with Hype. Canton, okay, that's kind of it. Everything else getting absolutely nuked, all right? So you get access to that. And like I said, then we have these full 2 trading guides at the bottom. All this is for free, by the way. $6 a month. Totally worth it, all right? So if you are interested in checking that out, then yeah, feel free to do so. I think it's worth it. Like I said, it's $6 a month. People charge $50, $100 for stuff like that. Just saying. Trump is super slow. If he thinks his party has any chance in the midterms, he's been negative. I mean, that's the reason why. Do you think tomorrow goes green? No, I think it's red. I think it's a bad day tomorrow, just my opinion. ETH is dying. I mean, ETH's down. I wouldn't say it's dying, but yeah. Just be mindful, by the way, if anyone's asking you to DM them in TikTok, don't do it. They're probably trying to scam you. Just my opinion, by the way. So yeah, if anyone's like, oh, DM me, I can tell you what's going on, bro, don't do it. It's just my opinion. Okay, cool. So yeah, here's where I'd be looking at. Like I said, I mean, this is the daily chart, by the way. It looks like a meme coin, not a $1.3 trillion asset. So again, be mindful. But I mean, this is just a disgrace. Like this is a shambles. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of absolute dumping. If anything, 74.5K. I'd just be really mindful. We said, didn't we? Look at gold futures, negative 11%. Silver negative 31. These are priced in futures. BTC futures now looks like a negative 0.35. So this continues to push down as well. So yeah, look out. Look at this as well, by the way. I didn't even look at this. Look at this. This is the liabilities and capital liabilities deposits to the Federal Reserve Treasury General Account. It's going nuclear. It's up 10%. What? And by the way, don't forget the government's fucking shut down as well. So you're going to get more of that tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be bad. I was pissed when I sold all my crypto 3 weeks ago to buy a tow truck. Now, not so much. KT, there you go, mate. That's why we always say, take some profits. I took 50% at 108. So, you know, my strategy now is, as much as I'm pissed about the fact that, you know, my Jasmine has now gone to pretty much zero. At least 50% is in stablecoin. By the way, if you're curious about the Discord group as well, I actually announced when I was going into stablecoin in there as well. So, you know, like I said, I'm not saying I'm some sort of oracle or guru. We talk about it every night, 6 days a week I live stream. But these are just sort of some of the ideas we have. But what I would say is that there is always opportunity with this market. You just have to know where to look. So again, what am I looking at? This chart we're looking at here on the weekly as well. This could be another indication that the bottom's in. The BTC gold ratio, we're looking for it to hit this trend line. This trend line historically, every time we've hit it, has seen a significant balance to the upside. So this is the last bear market. Again, if we come in here, this may take us a couple of weeks to get to, but you start to talk about maybe April. Trump's going to need to start to push markets. You start to then get into the world of what midterms look like. You then start to get into the world of saying, well, we will have seen Kevin Walsh start to come in 44 days, takes us, again to March for the potential next rate cut. So we may even get the first rate cut in April. Could start to play out more favorably. Could be bullish. My liquidation at 74k, should I close it now or it may recover? I mean, I can't tell you what to do, bro, but 74k. I mean, I've got 74.4 as my next point where I think the markets could go to. Just my opinion. I mean, I don't know. What would I do in that scenario? Well, I think people probably know what I would do in that scenario, but yeah. I would be very mindful, but my view, by the way, is that I think this market's going to dump at midnight. Again, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a bloke that talks about crypto on the internet, and we have a community of people that want to try and do the right thing. We're just going to have a look and see if we can see anything that might be interesting to sort of take a look at. Will XRP go to 120? I mean, it could do. The only thing, by the way, I would say with XRP, and I've always said this, and I've said this about this entire time, is that it is slightly different to other coins. Now, I know loads of people are like, oh, but XRP today, it's been the Epstein files. That means XRP is a big scam and that David Schwartz has been selling and da-da-da-da-da. You're like, yeah, okay, cool. Look at what they've done. Go and have a look at that video I put out, which talks about G Treasury and that link between the banks. Like, yeah. If it does, it needs to bounce from here, though. It needs to bounce from 152. Next level would be 125. So you could argue if it broke this, that's kind of where I'd see some lines here for XRP. Definitely. You've also got a pretty aggressive descending triangle here, which, all sort of starts to come in the same play as well. So, you're looking for a potential bounce here around 147 if it comes down further. So, historically, these are generally good signs if it comes off there. But yeah, Powell Summers Fed chair ends on the 15th of May. Yeah, so April probably ends up being flat. Sorry, March probably ends up being flat. I think he will be out. I don't think he'll do the April one. I think he's done in terms of federal meetings. I think Kevin Walsh might do the next one, but yeah. We'll see. I'd like to buy Sol at $30 again. Maybe the crash is not such a bad thing. I mean, I don't want Solana to go to $30 again, but yeah, it looks like it's about to break $100. Oh my God. We're going to zero, everybody. Yeah, BTC also mentioned the e-files. It looks like they were trying to take over the network. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I mean, I've only read a little bit. I kind of don't want to go to, at the minute, all I'm focused on is what's going on with this market, trying to make the best content I can, making sure that everyone's XRP at 10,000, making sure everyone's as up to speed and as knowledgeable as I can possibly make it. I think if I start diving into those files, I just end up in a world where my brain hurts after a while. So yeah, mate, I know the feeling. But this is not financial advice. The way I look at it though is I say to myself, right, I look at my portfolio and I go, okay, I'm holding Ethereum. Do I believe Ethereum longer term is going to be good? Yes. Okay, well, cool. All right, I'm happy with it. Do I need the money? No. Am I sat on stablecoin? Yes. So in essence, I'm almost a bit like, right, fuck it then. I don't really care about that anymore, which is insane, by the way. And I think it gets to a point where you know, if we were truly going to believe that 30K was going to be the bottom for BTC, then I would probably be selling way more than that. I don't think it's going to be. Now, if we break 67.5K and it's like, it looks like it's going to be a shit show, then it would be silly to not to then, you know, put some more into stablecoin. But at the minute, I'm probably in the world of going, right, where's my buy-in bit? Where am I coming back into the market? And I kind of was thinking about this the other day, by the way, and I don't know how people feel about it, but I kind of want to do something which is a little bit out there. I think I want to put like a big Bitcoin trade on just for shits and giggles, like not necessarily insane leverage, but maybe some decent margin, maybe some kind of big leverage, but you know, nothing like super crazy, but get like a 6-figure trade on or something, you know, like a half a $1 million trade or something, which could be interesting, and see if we can ride that all the way back up. And you know, it'd be insane to see what we could do maybe on the channel in terms of that. I think that could be quite good fun. So yeah, maybe. I'm going to wait and see, by the way. Eat steak, you're talking from 2 hours? No, I've only been live 1 hour and 6 minutes. It's fine. I haven't used Tron. I'd be mindful of Tron, though. I think Justin Sun's about to get, like, investigated, so yeah. How low is XRP going? Well, look, my price target for BTC is between 65 and 67.5K. Some people predict it could go to 30. Historical statistics tell us that it could do. Do I think it gets that low? Probably not. XRP, look, I think, you know, do we eradicate all of the gains and go back to 50 cents? I don't think so. So I think if people are like, oh, XRP is good. No. I think worst case for XRP probably is the low end of that, which would be like $1.04. That would be my lowest that I think. Now, again, like I said, I'm just a bloke that talks about crypto on the internet, but, you know, could we see XRP somewhere in that sort of range between 117 and 105? Maybe. Shall I put it in red? It's like, this is like, you know, doom zone, let's call it. Aishan, are you Cardiff? Come to Cardiff, mate. He talked to me. I'm actually, weirdly, I'll be in Newport. Newport's in Wales, right? I'll be in Newport in end of September, I think it is. Go now! I'm in at 171. I mean, we were in at like 40 cents, so yeah, still kind of all right. And by the way, I would always advocate that there will be relief rallies in this way down. Of course there will. So, you know, my view is kind of like, see what happens on a relief rally. That's when you want to try and get it. But the problem with relief rallies is people go, oh my God, the bottom's in, we're going to the moon again. Like, it's fine. You got to be mindful. I have a heavy limit order set for XRP at 5599. What? When market opens, anyone know what time from now? Markets, well, Asia opens in 2 hours' time. And US futures open in 2 hours time. I predict, just my opinion, I predict that the market tanks when US futures opens. See, the other thing, crypto various, I stay and accumulate. Look, you can buy on the way down. We've talked about that a number of times. Newport's next to Cardiff. That's it. Oh, there we go. There we go. But yeah, that's my opinion, by the way, that I think US futures are going to be pretty tasty. Scott knows what's the latest, buddy. Bear market, bad news. Thanks for look at that one, the coconut water with a bandana. That's brilliant. Yeah, I mean the view is bear market certainly feels here, or very much, you know, a few days, maybe a week away potentially. And I guess opportunities there. How do we prepare for it? And, you know, you got to remove the emotion from this. So many people will be like, oh, but it's not fair. Like the bull market was meant to be the biggest thing. I was meant to get myself out of the, you know, where I'm at. All right, cool. So was I. You know, I wanted to go full time here on YouTube. Well, doesn't look like it's going to be that. I'm going to have to work for a bit longer. Do you know what I mean? But hopefully we can get there. You know, if the channel keeps growing and we keep doing all this kind of stuff, then fingers crossed. Also, the other great thing, and I would never be an advocate for, oh, trade the opportunity, get involved, do all that kind of stuff. But it is worth noting, by the way, that there are opportunities in this market. There are opportunities to short this market, long this market, all of that good stuff. And FYI, if you're looking for somewhere to do it, my best place, I think, that is worth it is Bitunix. They have a great platform. Link in the description. It's also in our Discord. Newcomer bonus, $10,000 of new user signups. Totally worth it, by the way. They've got all of what you need. Check out the link. Heading over there. It's where I've been doing my trading. And again, if we are going to put this big trade on, it'll probably be on Bitunix as well. I don't see massive volatility. I don't see these big spikes in it. Definitely, in my opinion, worth it. So check out those links in the description and also in our Discord as well. So yeah, I hate that I'm in it. I knew I would come soon, but wanted my BP ready. What does that mean? Was my BP ready? I don't know what that means. Algorand is such AWS, should have been a top 20 coin. Foundation is horrible. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Algorand was similar to XRP, really. It had that big move, didn't it, when no one expected it to. And then it kind of, oh, buying power, dry powder. Yeah, I get it. Then it sort of, you know, came on the back of it. But yeah, Axe says, Axe. Hodl! Axe, you're in stablecoin. Or did you buy back in again? I can't remember. The Moon says, g'day, folks, from Townsville. What is the bear bullish price prediction? I mean, it's all bad news at the minute. I would say that 90% of altcoins have taken out October 10th liquidity spike. October the 10th wrecked the market. You got to understand how bad October 10th was. I think it's definitely something we probably should go into a little bit more to understand what that looks like. But yeah, October the 10th broke this cycle. That's my opinion. And you can see that by the fact CZ's been trying to pump it. And it's only become clear to me in the last, like, you know, 3 or 4 days when you just take a step back and you're like, right, okay. Like last night, for example, as much as I don't stream on Saturday nights, I'm head deep in the markets. I'm researching loads of stuff. I'm sort of, you know, you look at like CZ recently and it, you know, he's been trying to prop this market up. I think, and he'll never admit it, and it'll take legal, you know, I don't think even legally they could find out, but I think Binance broke this market. I think it broke it. Which is interesting, which is super interesting. If you look at kind of CZ's recent tweets, for example, and what he's been doing, like he's been trying to push this market higher. Global tension caused more money to flow into safe assets like gold. They find out those are not stable though. Now is the best time to educate people about crypto. It's like, all right, CZ, let's get it. You know, he's just trying to pump this market. Receive 400 applications, easy residence. Next season, every season has about 20 projects aiming 4 to 6 seasons per year. I find it easy to invest when the market is less hot. Like he's been trying to push this market up. And yeah, kind of interesting when we know that October 10th would be good. You should edit down the October 10th video. Yeah, we were live, weren't we? Do you remember that? I have a stable and long-term bags, Krone, Jasmine, Zebek, and BTC. Nice. CZ was at Davos. Yeah, he was trying to pump it. Yeah, after manipulation, crashing silver and gold. Let's not go into that too much. Yeah, we were live for October 10th, which is insane to have that all caught on live stream, which is wild. Yeah, please make a payment access to premium Discord. That's YouTube is our native currency. Yeah, I don't know how I do it. How do we do it? Let me have a look at it. Tomorrow, I will find a solution for you. How do you normally pay for things? That's the question. Through you. So can you not just become a channel member? Saeed, can you just not become a channel member? If you just become a channel member, then it's easy. You just click join and just do it. Yeah. You did a short live on air. Oh, did I? Such BS. It was a way. Oh, you mean October 10th? Yeah. Yeah, October 10th was like, man, I can't believe that we literally streamed it all. That's insane. I forgot about that. I forgot about it. BTC 30 to 50k bottom. Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely on the cards. What's going on, Phil? October 10th, 2025. 2-Bit knows what's up. I can't remember which stream it was. How long ago would it have been? When's October 10th? Oh, it's like 3 or 4 months ago. I was going to say, yes, yeah, everyone's getting on the narrative now. You know, when like, and sometimes, by the way, sometimes I let myself go and I'm like, I don't understand why like 50,000 people are watching my videos. But like, you know, if you hold XRP, you got 24 hours, major XRP warning. What did I just see? It's over, Bitcoin bottom. And then you go into it and it's like, you know, Kevin Washed. It's Kevin Wash's fault. Look at it. It literally says it on the screen. Oh my God. Oh man. I'm not going to call these people out by name, but like, it's all Kevin Wash's fault. Jesus. Come on, people. You got to be better than that. They've got to be better than that. It's all Kevin Walsh. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's liquidity. All right, everybody. Lots of bunch. My first cycle, DCA the dips, and still losing after I took out early. I mean, look, if you made out with anything, that's good news. Loads of people will have got nuked in this market. So, yeah. It was the October 10th video. Yeah, Trump coin and Melania coin killed markets. That's true as well. Yeah, that's true as well. I think we go up first week of Feb. We've had 4 months red. That's true as well. I mean, that is worth noting, by the way. For if you are looking for any sort of like, okay, could there be reversals? Could there be a slight change in markets? Then you could kind of say, well, maybe. I mean, look at the liquidations, by the way, 250 million today. But yeah, look at this. Bitcoin, negative January, 10.17% negative in Jan is insane, by the way. 5 times worse than normal. February has only ever been 3 times red before. Is it going to change this time? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Historically, it has always had a decent February. March the same, but you're right. October, red. November, red. December, red. January, red. Like, that's 4 months in a row. The last time we saw these, though, historically, are generally in bear markets. For example, we had 3 months in 2021. You know, you had 3 months back there in 2018. Like, yeah. How long ago? Well, I mean, KT, it's going to low, baby. If this is the narrative, then soon could be the first time to buy. I mean, that's true, yeah. That's true. Tomorrow's the bottom, but it's going to hurt. I don't think it is. I don't think the bottom's tomorrow. I think most expect dump. They position a lot of shorts. Going to be massive shorts liquidations in the next 24 hours. Well, we can look at that, by the way. Let's take a quick look at that. I feel like that isn't the case. Oh, no, it's not what I want to look at. Hold on a minute. Oh, we don't look at them. We can't go any higher. Okay, let's move to this one, I think. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Well, let's look at the 7-day. So look at this. I mean, there is a lot stacked up, by the way. So yeah, everything is stacked up short. People are trading this aggressively short. So if you got to move up, let's say that Bitcoin went to 79K, still only 115 million though. You're talking like 80K to get anywhere near it. So yeah, there's a bit, look, there's quite a bit of heavy leverage either way. I mean, some people think the market's going to pump, so we'll see. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Could be not. Interesting. I love Chicago. You say when Trump launched his coin, I knew that it was the top of the market. Yeah, I mean, man, it feels like such a long time ago. Such a long time ago. I mean, Bitcoin's just had a nice little wick here, 77.5. So interesting that we just got a little bit of a nice green spike. But you can't trust, my view, by the way, you can't trust any of these pumps right now. You can't trust any of these. The day we went away from gold standard and the dollar and the economy was going to fail, to blame someone today for these problems is silly. That's true. Watching the rerun may tip them over the edge, Tim. Yeah. Can you please include Discord as a perk to channel members? Yeah, it is. It is. So if you become a channel member, you get access to the premium Discord. That is literally the benefit of it. So if you can become a channel member on YouTube, then you get instant access to our Discord. Grandma, how's your crypto going? What are you going to tell her? It's going to the floor, Grandma. I lost everything. You have to sell the NatWest pigs. Yeah, maybe we'll entertain ourselves tomorrow night and watch that rerun. But yeah, if you can become a channel member, then you're in, is what I would say, Saeed. You're in. Maybe I set a crypto wallet up and you can send crypto. I don't know. It's more to make sure that you get, it's like a monthly reoccurring thing. What's the liquidity about look like? Must be lots of shorts building up. Well, yeah, we just looked at that now. So you've got a little bit here. Trump is sending his troops into BTC. Let's hope so. Liquidation heat map. Let's take a look at that. Binance owns coins market cap. Yeah, I think they do actually. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this kind of emphasized the point I was going to make. Like, look how bad this look how bad the liquidity graph is. By the way, awful. I mean, there isn't a low, so you could argue maybe it pushes to the upside, but you know, look at that. Even if it wicked up to 79,000, 26 million in liquidity, that's it. Man. Bro, please check breaking news. UK crypto exchange issues with US sanctions just now coming, hence keeping you informed. It's on the Trading View news. Oh, really? Trading View. Where do I see news? Bitcoin breaks key support. Bitcoin shrink. Let's have a look. Trading view news. Top stories 2 days ago. NatWest. Oh, really? Must be on here if it is as well. Let's have a look. Michael Saylor, US sanctions crypto exchanges overrun. 2 UK registered crypto exchanges have become the first digital platform sanctioned by the US. Under Donald Trump's Iran policy extending sanctions enforcement. Okay, who is it? Do we know? Sanctions prove Bitcoin's value proposition. Who is it? Do we know? Right, well, you admit it's a bear market now. No. Oh, dear. I mean, officially, I think we're very close to a bear market. Like I just said, a couple of days and I think we're there. BTC 60K is a real. Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, I've said 60, 65, 67K. What are the exchanges, by the way? Anyone know? I don't know what the exchanges are, though. Buffalo, we have NatWest Pay. So let's have news. US, UK banks, historic first. So US blacklists 2 cryptocurrency exchanges. Who is it though? I don't know who it is. Oh, here we go. I got it. So it is on January 30th, the Office of Foreign Asset Control designated ZCX Exchange Limited and Zion Exchange, citing their role in facilitating nearly $1 billion of IRGC related transactions, primarily through Tether on the Tron network. See, told you, got to be careful with Tron. All right, it's literally nothing burger in it. All right, yeah, I know they've done a billy, but who the hell has even heard of those exchanges? Not me. So Anyway, right, everybody, that is going to take us to the end of the live stream, as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. It is, in my opinion, going to be a pretty rough 24 hours. I think it's going to be a pretty rough week. Could you check the questions above, please? Which questions? The fact Binance dumped the timing sways me to accumulation. Yeah, but liquidity's thin. Futures markets are awful. So all I would say is be very, very mindful of that, in my opinion. What was the other question you put on there? You said the fact. Oh no, I said that one. BTC accumulation or redistribution. What's your thoughts? I mean, at the minute, I'm just waiting to see what happens. Markets are very nervous right now. Markets are really susceptible to movements on liquidity. So I'd just be really cautious. I think we're in for a shit show. Pre-markets look terrible. Futures on gold and silver look awful. Remember, the stock market and the commodities market haven't been open, and we saw that massive dump post the markets closing on Friday. So when you're looking at silver futures at negative 31%, I think we could see way more dumping. Only an hour, 40 minutes left. Let's see what happens. As always, I'll be back tomorrow night to talk all about it. I've got some content coming out to keep you guys up to date. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, jump into our Discord. Grab that channel membership, giving you full access to our premium Discord as well. That means you get access to that alpha bots and everything else, which is worthwhile. So until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. We'll be back tomorrow night at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK time for all the latest and greatest. Until then, have a great day. Thank you so much. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.